This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'm going to call a special finance committee meeting for May 8th at 2 o'clock order. Secretary, please call the roll.
Robert Flynn,
Yes, here.
Barry Foster, Edward Hildebrand,
Present.
Jason Perry,
Present. I am in an area that over the next 5 miles, I go in and out, but then I'll have solid coverage after that 5 miles.
Have a quorum. That's good. Okay. So, can I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda for the Finance Committee of Monday, May 28, 2023.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any objections? Okay, proceeding on. Main Street, Roswell. There you are. You're up.
Never done this before, but I'll have to be to make a presentation as to why I'm requesting additional funding or whatever. Well, first of all, I hope you all received my letter that I sent to you on May 3rd, letting you know a little bit about who we are and how long we've been incorporated. And basically, since August the 1st, whenever I was hired, I've been attempting to move the direction, not that the organization has not been set on the 4-point approach. I'm really trying to focus more on the 4-point approach, Main Street, which is part of New Mexico Main Street. And so what that encompasses is design, economic vitality, organization, and promotion. And the goal of Main Street, what our goal for Main Street Roswell is not only to be known as a hub of great events such as the UFO Alien Fest and Chili Cheese Festival, but more importantly, we want to encompass a 4-point approach and act as the lead in economic growth for Main Street. We will also want to be the lead in business retention and recruitment, and we want to revitalize and do renovation for the Main Street corridor. In this endeavor, we're refocusing to move forward to a forward-moving direction as a business model. And I know you're probably saying, well, haven't you always done that? That is true. We have always done that. But I think what we're trying to do is really just focus on what our goals are and what we're supposed to be doing in Main Street and to move forward. And when I say as a business model, is to act as a business model in regards to how we raise funds and how we spend money. And when we do events, that those events are profitable, so as that we can not only be a value and a valuable asset to the community, but also to sustain ourselves through not only funding that we get from the city, but also through our community partnerships. So we do thank you at this time. We do thank you for the money that you give us now, which is $60,000 was approved during our last agreement. And however, we would like to continue this forward movement and to request an increase in on compensation from the city to $75,000. I know that doesn't seem, I know it's probably not a lot, not enough to hire somebody, but it is enough money to get me some help as far as running the organization. Right now, I am the only employee for Main Street Roswell, and trust me, it's really hard to juggle every single ball that I have to juggle in terms of events, in terms of reporting, which at a later date, I will discuss this later when I'm going through the legal committee. We are looking to relook at our contract and to make sure that what's in that contract reflects our desire to work with the city of Roswell. And so that some of that wording will, hopefully, I'll be working not only with our own team, we also have a lawyer that's a member of our board of directors. He couldn't be with us here today. His mother's taken a turn for the worse, so he's in Texas with her right now. But he is a lawyer, so he's going to look over our PSA and help us to reword some of our PSA with softer language to understand, so that you guys understand our desire to work with the city in collaboration with events and other areas within the city. Also, would also like to take out of our contract Like I said, to soften the language to say it's, we don't want to be so direct and say, we don't want to we want to use this word or use this name or use whatever. We want to be able for the language to be more collaborative with the city. Let's see. And saying that I am the only employee, I would like to be able to focus on the bigger picture and not have to worry so much about so many of the little things. And I know $15,000 more is not going to hire a full-time employee, but it'll give me some flexibility to be able to hire people to help me off and on in the middle of reporting. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to tell you about the contract. We'll be looking at the way we do reporting with you. So not to inundate you every single quarter with 10 attachments that you probably don't even read. And so we're trying to find a way to streamline that. So when you finally get my quarterly report, it'll be maybe 2 to 4 pages long that actually really outline our scope of services and what we're supposed to be doing for you. So anyway, that's what I would like to ask and would request your consideration for this amount. Thank you.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, and I see this with all the requests today, that I don't see any current financial data. I find it extremely difficult to grant any request without knowing what the operating incomes and expenses are for any of these organizations. That's sad that that wasn't presented to us at this committee. I don't know how to make a budget recommendation, not knowing how much the city is supporting your overall income stream. So I'm going to be hard pressed to make any recommendation today, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Perry, you have any questions for Main Street? We seem to have lost Councilman
See if he can come back in. Just give him a
Perry. Well, we'll wait and see if he comes back. There's two things. I've got a direct question for you and a general comment for everybody in the room. We started these budget hearings 6 weeks ago,
at least.
maybe 8. But I mean, I'm just constantly in this deal. I told all of our department heads that came into this room with their proposals that I was looking for $10 million.
Reduction.
$10 million. We're close, but we're not there yet. We're about, depending on if you look at my crystal ball or somebody else's, we're about 2 million still out of sync. Where are you on your audit? Where's your, when was the last time you had an audit? And is it a requirement in your contract with the city?
I don't believe that we have an audit that we're required.
No.
Do you guys know any?
I think that,
I
I
don't
think audit requirements were dropped.
Yeah, I don't
It was
recall.
upon request. It was upon request.
And just an FYI for you guys, I just completed our quarterly report and submitted, as you may know, I no longer have a liaison. Generally, these reports would be going to my liaison. He would then distribute them to whoever needed these reports, along with just a general quarterly report. You also get financial reports for the last 3 months. So I sent them where I was directed to send them this time, which was unfortunately for Chad. It was on Chad's first day to work. He received in that same week. He received my 10 attachment report along with financials, and so did Mike Matthews. And I'm sorry I didn't bring them with me, so I'll have to get them to you then, I suppose.
Do you gentlemen happen to know where you may have that?
It's in my email. Yes.
Well, I'm like Councilman Hildebrand, I'm anxious to see that before I make any decisions.
That's fully understood, sir. If you want me to send them directly to you, I know you can't make a decision today.
You send it through your normal channel.
Okay, well,
If we've got a breakdown and stuff over here, we'll take care of it.
okay, all right.
Unfortunately, we've got a new captain at the helm, and he's playing catch up big time.
Yes,
So we'll get those. Thank you.
all right.
Okay, moving on, Hispano Chamber.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It seems like it was just yesterday that I was here asking for $50,000, and here I am again, asking for your support. But before I go there, just let me tell you that, yes, this past weekend, we had a super event at the county courthouse lawn. Friday and Saturday, we had the Cinco de Mayo festival. Great attendance on both days, Friday and Saturday, even though there was another event going on at the World Bowl. I think it helped us because people went there, they came to us, and they probably went over there. But I was happy with the attendance and felt good about it. We've asked last year for $50,000 so that we could hire a part-time person and an IT person, and we've done both. And it has paid great dividends for us. As my letter states, we've one of our strengths are working with other organizations in our city, with the like Eastern New Mexico University. We've helped them be part of writing a grant that they successfully obtained. Now we're successfully participating with them and making sure that we do what the grant said we were going to do. We participated at their at the Career Expo a couple weeks ago. Very successful. My executive assistant, young lady from Roswell High School, Viana Ibarra, went there, and they want to take her away from me already. They want to hire her doing other things. I said, no, you're committed with me. The Eastern New Mexico University was at our Cinco de Mayo event. They had a nice booth promoting the university. Roswell Public Library, which is one of our successful events that we do during the year, the Cinco de Mayo, the Dia de los Muertos. And then we added a new event that we support. Not that we are the catalysts to the whole thing, but we're the support to their efforts. And you probably saw an article or a front page article of the mural. Well, we provided a lot of input to that mural. And we're proud of that because it resonates in the Hispanic community that the library is a welcoming place for them to go. And the Roswell Hispanic Chamber of Commerce was part of that. We supported the Dia de los Niños, the Day of the Child, and the Day of the Book. We continue to work closely with the Roswell Independent School District. We have 3 MOUs with them, Goddard High School and Mesa Intermediate School. And right now I'm forgetting the third one. So I'm not going to mention the third, but forgive me for that. But at Roswell, at Goddard High School, just last week, I went into the Spanish class, spent a whole hour talking to the Spanish class, telling them the benefits of education. And we're going to talk about education even more later on, because to us, education is important. That's how we prepare young people to become business owners, to become mom and dads, and to be able to bring up their kids successfully and have a better community at the end of the day. Roswell, keep Roswell beautiful. We continue to work with them. We provide the manpower to do a day cleaning, and we will probably add another cleaning day because we really enjoy doing that event. We always work with other organizations. One of them is with my good friend Barbara Gomez, Keep Roswell, Main Street Roswell. We just collaborate. They need help. We're there for them. I mentioned education, Mr. Chairman, because I think that's important. It's not Marcos Nava, it's not our president, Alma Salas, the vice president of operations at Pioneer Bank. It's the Chamber of Commerce, Roswell Hispano Chamber of Commerce that they go to. NAMI came to us. They want us to help them promote their new middle school program that they're going to have. They want us to reach out to the youth to the families of need. And we have done that. We're actually in planning sessions right now to making sure that families know about this golden opportunity to send a child to that middle school that they're going to have, and that child will probably end up being a very successful citizen of our community. Even if we get one child to join because of our efforts, we made a life-changing effort. September 8th, 9th, and 10th, Piñata Festival. The United States Postal Services shows us as a city, as an organization, as a Hispano Chamber of Commerce to promote their new stamp, Piñata Stamp. It's going to be a national campaign, and Roswell is right there, Roswell, New Mexico. And we think it's going to be a great event, and it's going to promote our city. Not because of Marcos, not because of anybody else, but because of the Roswell Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Are there any questions, Mr. Chairman?
Have any questions?
Well, again, I'll make.
Mr. Chairman, I am on the phone. I've been on since 10 minutes after. I'm sorry. There was a problem on the phone and it caused me to get disconnected.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Chairman, again, I'm going to make the same statement. These are not current financial statements in here. The audit statement is of December 31st, 2021.
Last year. Oh, 21. You're right, Mr.
It's a
Chairman.
year behind, and it's difficult for me again to make any recommendation for the budget not having current financial information. And as you recall, last year, when we sat down and talked about your funding requirements, it was important to see the improvement in your revenue line, shall I call it, that the city was not to be your major support, financial support, and you were going to work on how you were going to increase that. I don't have any information that tells me that.
Okay.
So at this point in time, Mr. Chairman, I, again, can't make any recommendation of funding. It's not fair to the citizens of this community that we don't have all that information because it's not my money. It's the citizens of this community. And I understand all the good work that everybody does in here, and I appreciate all that good work that is being done. But again, we're stewards of other people's money.
If I could answer.
And I hope that you're not taking this as a personal move, because it's not personal. That this is all about being stewards of the citizens of Roswell's money.
I am not taking it personal, not at all. And I remember quite well our conversation. And I thank you for bringing that up, because this is a financial report of 2021, a special report that you wanted to for us to bring up our financial information to the committee.
Yeah.
And we paid $2,000 for this report. It wasn't a full audit, but it was some kind of an audit.
A review.
A review audit, yes. And we did it as we promised that we were going to do. In the packet, Mr.
You know, the counselor will be fine.
Counselor.
Yeah, you just call me Ed.
Mr. Ed Chancellor, in the packet, I did include the February 28, 2023 financials. All I'm missing is one, which is March. And the reason why I don't have March is our bookkeeper, our council, our treasurer provides this report for free. His time is donated to us.
Yeah.
And during the month, during the tax season time, I hate to bother him,
I understand.
and we're only 1 month behind. So I hope this gives you a good picture of where we're at, sir.
Mr. Nava, this is just representative of 1 month. This is not a year-to-date statement. Your income statement is just for the month of February only.
Okay?
So we need to see current month along with your year-to-date numbers. And I understand when you get somebody to do things on a volunteer basis and they got tax season going on, I thoroughly understand that.
Okay?
But this is not a year-to-date number. This is 1 month standard because it shows that you lost $3,200. Well, that's probably not true.
Right.
So I would ask that you bring back full financial reporting back to this committee.
Do you mind if I reach out to your office or maybe to the committee, to the chairman, and ask what really format, what other format, what format?
This is fine here. Just give us some year-to-date numbers,
Year-to-date numbers.
year-to-date as well. Your balance sheet will stay the same. It's your profit and loss statement will be different. And it's easy for them to do it. It's just one click on QuickBooks and it'll print it right out. It'll show current year. In fact, it needs to be 2 columns. Year-to-date for this year, year-to-date your previous year.
Yes, sir. I will follow.
Thanks.
Yes, I actually just wanted to say, I actually reviewed the request that was sent out to the organizations. And one thing I would recommend possibly to the finance committee or to the admin, there needs to be clear and concise instructions on what's expected. Because what I read was actually vague. And I had received phone calls trying to find out what they were supposed to say. And so that's just a suggestion.
Good. We'll do that.
Chair? It's not about
Hanging up on us, Ed.
That's fine.
the financials, but it's more about the stamp. So I just want people to realize how important that is because the United States Postal Service chose Roswell to release their new stamp and they're going to do the marketing and everything nationwide to highlight Roswell and the Hispanic Chamber. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
I don't disagree. I have nothing.
Oh, I know. I just say
What
that.
anybody's doing for this community. I just don't.
Yeah.
And they're great things but we need to look at it and see.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
See what we're doing with our money.
I agree.
No.
So, Mr. Helderman, so you just want March, the latest one,
Yeah,
year to date in 2 columns? Yes, I have it, but not in the format that you want.
Yeah.
And I thought I brought it with me because he just sent it today.
Because we're going to go through this again when we go through later.
Right.
You know, and if we can get this budget stuff taken care of now, we won't have to go through that. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you, Mr. Nava.
I know it's not my turn anymore, but I have printed a couple of things. Like I said, I sent them forward before this isn't everything, but this is our January through March profit and loss, and this is our balance sheet. And I do have my treasurer here if you have questions, so she can answer any of those questions.
Are you on a fiscal year or are you on a calendar year? It'll be good to see your the 31st.
Yes, we got those two.
See you 2 years, right? Indeed. This is
Well, I
3
didn't
months.
look
This
at
is
it.
3 months of operation.
That's from the quarterly report, the financial report from the quarterly report.
Okay,
That is another thing.
well, that's helpful. So, okay, so back to the chamber, on your statement of cash flow and statement of expenses, you've got 21, 20 and 21, but 22 is not here.
Is that what I submitted?
I don't know where it came from. It's in my packet. Come look, see what I've got here.
It's your review.
It's a review.
It's a review, which is dated September 15th to 22. That's when the review was completed.
Well, this one says December 31st, 21.
I know, but the review itself was completed by the accountant.
So they
September.
couldn't do 22 yet. They did this.
But we do need 22.
Last time,
Are you on a calendar year?
We are, sir.
Yeah, so if we could get the 12/31/22 numbers as
I
well,
know, but they did.
is what we would like to see as well. 12/31/22.
Okay, I better. Yeah.
okay. Well, while you're digging up stuff for him, see if you can bring me up to date on 22, because this is May. Surely we've got that. Something else that I have a question about. Your board of directors it says as of December 31st, 2021, and everybody expires in 23?
No,
That's all.
they're still going. And as a matter of fact, we show a great progress in our board of directors. There, we had 6 members, I believe it is. And currently, we have 13 board of directors.
So this is a year-old list. We just need current. Yeah.
Yes, and it's there. I provided one.
Okay. Now, also a great lot of time was spent discussing your membership from last time. The number of 100 sticks in my head. I don't know if that's true or not, because I've slept several times since a year ago. You've supplied us with a 23 membership. So is that up, down, flat?
It's work in progress. And when, at the end of the quarter, as we've always done in the past, we will provide you as a list of the members. And Mr. Chairman? In your packet, there was a current list of board of directors.
Yeah. They got about 92 members.
So
And here's the,
once again, yeah. Well, I'm just going through what I've got in my packet. It may or may not be current, and I was more interested in this sheet that he supplied us, or somebody supplied us, got on their letterhead. Shows that all the whole board, I guess is the proper term now, all expire in 23, so there's not any continuity.
page 6, you'll see.
Yeah, but look at page 14.
That's old.
I got it. I understand, but the term expires, still all say 2023 on them. So I don't,
That's current, yeah, of course.
yeah. I forgot the other thing I was gonna, oh, so you were gonna explain you're working on that. So compare last year's membership list with this year's membership list. Is there a net gain in membership?
At the current time,
Yeah,
I believe we are, yes.
okay. How many? Give me a percentage.
Let me give you that information later on.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Councilor Hildebrand?
I have no further questions, just waiting for additional data.
Okay. Councilman Perry, you have any questions?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you. All right. That gets us to the EDC.
Am I done, Mr. Chairman?
Farzan, unless you got something else you'd like to know. Okay.
The opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Way crazy. Went way too far. Well, we got a pitch hitter today.
Got a pinch hitter today. Thank you for allowing us to come and give us our budget request. Mike had to fly out at 11 this morning to go to another conference to talk to people about bringing business and jobs to Roswell and Chaves County. And so I'm the current chairman this year, and I've come before the finance committee in the last 10 years a couple of times to present our request. You gave us $200,000 last year, and we're asking for the same amount. We would ask for more. We understand you're under budget constraints because of many discussions that have taken place between the EDC and the city, and as we try to attract businesses here. I did not bring financials again because we give you our financials every month, and you've got our current audit. And so I thought if I made copies of all those for everybody here today, we'd be sort of duplicating that. In addition, since we've always given you our financials monthly, I've never brought them in another request, so I didn't even think about bringing them today. The EDC is alive and well. I can tell you that there's more going on in Roswell right now to make sure that next time we have a census, it's not close to 50,000. I've been on the EDC board in one way or another for about the last 10 years. And I can tell you there's more going on right now than there's ever been in any couple of years before. Part of that's because we came out of COVID and people are trying to do things, but we've had the largest building on an airport empty in the United States for years and had nobody look at it. We've got 4 people looking at it right now. And some of them are already here in Roswell, but would bring other businesses that they've got and put in there. And those businesses could bring anywhere from 300 to 3,000 jobs. But there's 4 people right now that Mike's talking to that say they're interested in that facility. Now, in economic development, you never know what's going to happen. But again, one of those possible tenants is already at our airport. We've worked long and hard as the city has to try to get a cent here. Don't know if they're coming. I would probably say no in personal opinion, but the EDC was first and foremost, as you know, trying to get that here. It would have been great if we could have got that hangar built. It doesn't happen. Dean Baldwin would like to have that space. They would like to, they enjoy the employment in Roswell more than anywhere else they are in the country. And if they could expand, they would like to take that space and see something built there so they could bring an additional 50 to 100 jobs to Roswell. Mike is gone all the time. I know he's in contact with many of the counselors. We try to make sure that our communication is first and foremost with the city. I talked to him this morning. I try not to bother him because he's so dang busy, but he talked to last Thursday, he talked to a company in Romania that's going to come to Roswell to look at our air center. They want to build drones. And everything he told them about Roswell, he said, well, it's far better than any site we've got. The EDC, our membership person has been in touch with our members, which continue to grow. We are first and foremost in trying to find additional ways to get people to graduate and to help our businesses in town, working with all the school districts in the college to do that. We've got an unbelievable resource out there at the college. I've never seen the positivity in Roswell as high as it is right now with the new council leadership and county. The 2 entities seem to get better now than they have for a long time, but everything is really positive. We are just super busy and we need every dollar that we got last year in this year's budget. I can't tell you, there's so many other things. I could stand up here for an hour and I didn't want to do that. You have somebody at our meetings all the time and there's so many things that could happen to Roswell. I know some of you have heard about the Reno air races. If that were to move to Roswell, that would be a game changer for Roswell. That would always put us about 50,000. But any one of these major employers that we're talking to right now about coming to Roswell, if they do that, well, then the city is going to boom. We are also do what we can to try to help the housing shortage and are looking at different avenues in that. But we're trying to do everything we can to support Roswell to grow and to make this a better place to live for all of us. Are there any questions from you?
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself from anything to do with the Roswell and Chavez County Economic Development as I currently sit on that board.
Excited about the judgment.
Councilor Perry, you have any questions?
I was just waiting to hear any questions that you had before I did anything.
Don't have any burning questions, so go ahead.
I don't know that I have any questions, but so there's no concerns from the committee on anything missing from any kind of financial standpoint concerning for this month.
I'm not sure I understood his question.
Well, a statement, it wasn't a question. Okay. All right. Well, we'll put it in the mix. As everybody knows, our budget is still out of kilter just a little bit, and final decisions will be made in the next few days.
Thank you, sir.
So I appreciate everybody's participation today. Okay, now we got the Roswell Municipal Court.
Good to see you there. Thank you.
Welcome, Judge.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. On my May memorandum, honorable mayors and members of council, I do submit my 2024 budget request. And I do appreciate the time that you will take to review and discuss our budget needs. We respectfully submit our budget directly to you, the members of the Council of Roswell. The court operates with integrity, and we hold ourselves to the highest standards of performance, transparency, accountability, and ethical conduct. The municipal court respectfully requests these funds being sought. They have been asked for after thoughtful consideration and deliberation and determined to be necessary and reasonable experiences in the performance of our assigned judicial duties. The court is committed to evaluating our processes with the intent to reduce our overall cost to the fullest extent. The court is responsible for cost-related operations of the court function and the costs related to the constitutional legal requirements expressly required of the office. These examples include personnel and benefit costs, training and travel expenses, contracts with indigent counsel and professional services, information technology costs required to operate, maintain, and secure court data. And these requests are addressed in these items submitted to you. We break down the municipal court budget into 4 sections: salary, benefits, court operations, facilities and building, and corrections. For salary and benefits, we're asking for covering the cost of salaries for the municipal judge, the court administrator, 4 deputy court clerks, a bailiff, 1 court compliance officer. And again, we're asking for an additional amount of money for a summer intern position, not to exceed $5,000 in part-time salary requests. With a part-time salary request, there would be no additional benefit costs associated with that request. Increases in salary estimates over last year are due to the requirement by ordinance that the judge's salary will increase with the 2024 year. The new term of the municipal judge will begin on January 1, 2024. I do hope that it's me. The cost will occur sooner in the fiscal year because of the municipal elections being moved. The salary and benefit estimates that we've provided, they do not include any cost of living or consideration for pay scale increases, because that's been undecided by the city. I know that there are discussions. I'm not sure that it's been finalized, but our recommendations would be to follow in step with whatever is recommended for city employees. The court employees should receive and be considered for those same increases. We're requesting funding for our court operation costs. These include items for contractual obligations for indigent counsel representation, court interpreters, employee travel, training, alternate substitute judge costs, software subscriptions and maintenance, postage, printing and publication costs, subscriptions and membership dues, mobile telephones, and general supplies for computer hardware replacements. We're requesting to maintain the same level of funding for line items related to postage and mailing. Last year, we asked for budgeted monies to review and initiate internal processes allowing the court to be responsible for the mailing of these costs, the mail notices. We did have some issues previously, which required us to take appropriate actions to accurately account for our mailings. We do anticipate and want to notify the city that we do anticipate increases in mailing costs due to the passage of Senate Bill 47. This was signed by the governor. The passage of SB 47 changed the manner in which courts can suspend a person's license for failing to appear or failing to pay in court. The court relied on being able to notify Motor Vehicle Division of that, and then they would in turn take appropriate actions to suspend the violator. That would prompt the violator to receive a notice from the Motor Vehicle Division to take corrective measures of their license, and then they would be referred back to our court to resolve that, get a compliance letter from us, and then they could go and reinstate their license after they had resolved their issues with us. That's now changed because of the governor signing that bill. Postage, we know, will increase for metered mail from 60 cents to 63 cents. That rate change is proposed to be effective July 9th. And again, in our operational area, we've been advised from our vendors that our software maintenance agreements with Full Court and LexisNexis databases that we use, that will also increase. The computer towers for the court are due for replacements and upgrades. We're working with the city's IT department. We intend to use this year's budgeted monies to replace approximately 5 computer towers currently in use by the court administrator and the court clerks. And we're seeking funding to address the remaining computers not previously addressed. For facilities and building, we're seeking funding for facility and buildings costs. These line items include contractual janitorial cleaning services, pest control, wayfinding, security, and fixtures and furniture and maintenance and repair costs. In our previous budget submissions, the court had relied on agreements with the city that they would be responsible for certain issues related to facilities with respect for building maintenance and repairs. We experienced communication issues with executive management surrounding our requests for replacement and repair. Based on these experiences, the court leads us to recommend that these monies for the purposes of building and repairs be returned to the responsibility of the court. We have consulted with Mr. Justin Holcomb from City Facilities. He's come over and provided us a site visit. He's made some recommendations to the court regarding how we should budget. He's working on some hard estimates for some of the items that he agrees need attention. Specific funding is requested for our window replacements. We had thought that this was being addressed previously, but we found that that was not the case. The current conditions of the windows in need of repair and replacement consist of leaking, rust, and mold, and that we recommend that this window replacement not be delayed further. And we did receive notices from our UniFirst vendor that they would be increasing their costs. Their costs already took effect, and we're already experiencing those increases. For corrections, we do seek the funding for corrections, and we recommend funding as you have for the previous years. Again, this is a degree of flexibility that you enjoy because you set aside a pot of money, but we're not sure exactly every year how much we're going to use of that money. And I'll remind council that it's just a matter of we don't know what cases will be filed. We don't know what decisions will be made as a result of those cases being filed. We don't know who needs to be incarcerated and who doesn't. So that's something that we want you to especially consider if you're looking at not providing that amount of funding to cover that. I do talk about the authority for the creation of our special revenue fund. We are aware because of House Bill 139 that there will be a change in the corrections designation with respect to fees. As you're aware, the court collects $29 in court costs. $20 of that court cost is set aside for corrections needs. That's retained by the municipality. Effective July of next year, all those court fees have been eliminated. That's all court fees for all courts throughout the state have been eliminated. We're waiting on some guidance on how that's going to affect us. The Administrative Office of the Courts would give us that guidance. But as of right now, that's where House Bill 139 has affected us. Expenditures currently charged against our special revenue fund are the cost of housing our municipal prisoners at the detention center, the court's ankle monitor program, and our drug and alcohol testing of defendants as a requirement of their probation or an alternative sentencing program. Those have been permissible expenses for that special revenue fund. If we ultimately eliminate the special revenue fund, we're still going to incur those expenses. So they'll have to come over as a line item on our budget for next year. But I want the city to start thinking about how we're going to be affected by that process. We do see in recent data that the cost of our previous year for incarceration this year has increased. But again, we remind you, we're not in control of what cases get filed in our court and what do not. I'll talk briefly about COVID. Thankfully, Supreme Court relaxed conditions for the courts this March, and we're under less restrictive conditions. There was some good that came out of the COVID with respect to the courts, and our ability to hear remote cases was successful. The Supreme Court has found that throughout the state that's been a useful tool. They're going to recommend that courts keep remote options in place. There's a presumption currently that courts will be operating remotely for traffic offenses. We anticipate doing so. We've been doing so all along. There is options for remote appearance in our court by both video and by telephone. We do see by court order, they've ordered the courts throughout the state to provide a plan to the Administrative Office of the Court and to the Supreme Court from each judicial district outlining their implementation of their remote means for those instances. We're working through our partners with the Municipal League for the municipal judges throughout the state, and we'll be submitting our report collectively of the 82 jurisdictions that are covered by municipal courts. For municipal court revenues, we do collect money. We're not a revenue source, of course, but we do, as a matter of the way we do business, collect funds. I've outlined where those monies come from. With the changes in our processes in judicial education has been eliminated by the House bills that have been passed, but the monies are still going to be retained by the Administrative Office of the Courts. So in the past, where the court has cut a check to the Judicial Education Center for the $3 education fee, that for the next short period of time, that's going to be going to the Administrative Office of the Courts. And so this will be the first month's submission, the month of May, where that will be a change of where we send that money. But again, next year, next July, those fees will be eliminated. For just a snapshot of where our monies came from, we did collect $98,691 in fines. Collections fees that we had collected equaled $37,229.09. Our court automation fees collected equaled $11,351. Our judicial education fees collected were $5,701. And then we received other fees from our probation or our bond payments, and that totaled $6,102. From all sources of revenue, the court collected $159,074.94. The court does enjoy a reimbursement for our software. This comes from the court automation fee. We did receive reimbursement this year of $19,141.92. That's already been received and deposited with the municipality. We're cautioned that that money's going to dry up. So they'll keep dispersing it as long as it's there. But we've all been told collectively throughout the state that those monies are becoming hard to come by. Some statistical information for you. Again, in calendar year 2022, a total of 1,792 violations of criminal and traffic ordinances combined were initiated and filed in municipal court. We did perform 163 weddings. We do employ alternative sentencing in our court. This is through our ankle monitor program. We do enjoy a fee currently. It's not really enjoyable, but it's a fee currently of $75 per day for municipal prisoners. And that's either prisoners that or defendants that are serving time prior to court or because of adjudication of court matters. In 2022, defendants served a total of 4,295 days of detention center days, and resulting in a cost of $322,125. We do employ several options to avoid the cost of jail through our ankle monitor programs. We did have a total of 553 days of defendants that were on house arrest in lieu of incarceration. That saves the city approximately $41,475. We do have the enjoyment of a court compliance officer. She does a lot of pretrial services with defendants and then court compliance with defendants post adjudication. She's responsible for supervising those defendants. She monitored 117 defendants participating in community service programs, completing a total of 2,834 hours of community service. 47 defendants were monitored on supervised probation conditions as set by the court, and then 15 defendants reported for pretrial supervision. All right, some highlights just to wrap up. Again, we had the previous year cannabis legislation that caused changes in the courts. We had to go through the process of eliminating any references to cannabis convictions. We had to credit appropriately where outstanding fines existed. We had to, in some cases, where warrants commingled with cannabis charges, we had to withdraw the cannabis charges but reissue the warrants for the other charges. We addressed 1,195 cases affected by this legislation. We identified 587 cases where we were required to credit or remove fines or fees. That totaled $144,355. Speaking of our intern, and earlier, we did employ a University of Georgia graduate seeking acceptance to law school as a paid summer intern. She did complete various projects, and I'm happy to say that she's currently a student enrolled in the Texas Tech Law School. We do evaluate our internal processes, looking at where our software is and how it can assist us. We will continue to do that. We did this year obtain software subscriptions for LexisNexis. This has been a tool that's been able to help us find people through their programs. It's a very robust search engine, and it's going to assist us in tracking down people for outstanding fines and outstanding warrants. It'll also be a useful tool to avoid mailing to old addresses on file by the court and receiving return mail, which would prompt us to have to send out more mail to a possible different address. So we're hoping that will be a cost-effective method in the future. With budgeted monies last year, we were able to improve and replace our signage on the corner, which I'm sure you've all seen. The court really wants to reach out and thank Larry Connolly for the recommendation. As you remember last year, counselors, we had asked for those budgeted monies for those purposes. And I want to thank Larry. I understand that Larry's ill and he's not been seen in quite some time. And so the court does hope that he hears our well wishes, and we thank him for his suggestion to improve that corner. Let's see. We've been working with Judge Hudson's initiatives through the 5th Judicial District Behavioral Leadership Council. And we're also working with elected officials from this council and also the commission to address issues of substance abuse, behavioral health, and homelessness, which in Chaves County. I've had the pleasure of working with Councilman Arnold. We've done some site visits. We've seen some alternative programs that are in place in Donna Ana County. And I think we have a couple more field trips in the future. Some side items. I do still serve as the board of directors, on the board of directors for the Municipal Judges Association. I've been asked recently to become a judicial coach, a coaching resource for judges throughout the state. And in April, I was elected as your District 5 Director of the Municipal League of New Mexico. I do want to bring forward to your attention as I refer to our spreadsheet. There is an error on there I want to correct, so I'll highlight that error first. On the line for para-retirement on the Excel spreadsheet, I believe you're going to see a figure that says approximately $4,500. That's an error. It should be $38,149 carried over from the column next to it. So if you could just note that change. And then that changes the bottom number to $796,428. I would entertain any questions and talk about specifics on our budget request. I do want to talk about numbers and things that have not really been a responsibility of the court that we're asking for changes to. I'm open for questions, comments, and I thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Heskey, I do have a question on a couple items.
Okay.
And in particular, you talked about the maintenance and repairs, and you're wanting to propose to take your budget from $1,500 to $75,000. And in there you have windows and yearly maintenance issues. How did you arrive at the $75,000 request?
So we had previously, prior to me actually had this window issue has been talked about for a couple of years now. And the original estimates then were $60,000 for window replacements. I don't know where the number is going to land. We were hoping that Mr. Holcomb could provide us with some information prior to today's meeting, but he just wasn't simply able to do that. So we're guessing at that number. I hope that it would be less. We have issues that affect our court in any number of ways. Our plumbing, our bathroom, there's an outstanding work order now for bathroom issue that needs attention. Our roof needed replaced. The city has not set aside any other monies for our facility in any place in their budget. So it needs to be addressed somewhere, but that's how we arrive at that figure. So I hope that it would be less, but for the purposes of submitting, that's the number I came up with.
Judge, would you be opposed to bringing that out as a separate line item?
I know I capture it under M&R building.
Putting it at all as $75,000, what I would really like to see is.
Yeah, and so what Mr. Holcomb had suggested that he could do for us is he could, he's already done his site visit, but he could recommend to us what we should set aside for our anticipated costs for general maintenance that occurs for facilities. And then I guess if we had an emergency need, such as a roof repair or a mold issue, which I hope that it's not mold, but you never know. We would come to council on a case-by-case basis and address that.
So would you change your request so that you just show what Mr. Holcomb is telling you is your?
I'd happy to. I just haven't got that contact or that information.
Because the windows have to be approved as a separate expense item, especially if it goes over $60,000.
Sure.
So yeah, I'd like to see this budget request reflect.
Yeah, and we asked him to, because we knew we were meeting with you, we had asked him how soon he could get us something. Yeah. And he just can't get
he's a busy man.
Yeah, he just can't get to us and coordinate with that. And we appreciate, first of all, we appreciate working with him, and we appreciate his efforts to come over and look at and assess our facility. He does agree with our assessments of where things are and what needs to be addressed. And we're just simply relying on him. So we're hoping the number is different, but whatever that number may be, we're happy to break it down for you and figure that out. But we just, as a placeholder, that's where we are.
Yeah, well, if you would do that, I appreciate it. Just a side note, Mr. Holcomb, he's been a wonderful find for the city in all aspects of the maintenance. We found that we've got a lot of deferred maintenance in a lot of the facilities.
Yeah, and we were very thankful for his attention to us, and he's been great to work with.
I do have another question for you, and it's concerning your $51,500.
Yes, sir.
With your contract attorney Hightower and Miller and interpreter.
Yes, sir.
How much of that is interpreted?
Not much, because I'd say less than $1,500 actually, because I have taken the steps to certify one of my employees, Ms. Ordonis, actually my compliance officer, as a certified state court interpreter. She's about 3/4 of the way through full certification. So she supplements a ton of our needs there, but there's sometimes where she conflicts out, or if she's not available, we have to rely on the services of a lady named Miss Kobos. She's the only interpreter that covers this region. That's a state certified court interpreter.
Right.
And that's a requirement of the Supreme Court depending on the type of case.
So your contract with Hightower and Miller is really probably 50,000?
It's actually less. 15,000 of that is set aside for contract services with Miss Miller. And then the remaining is the Indigent Council, I believe in the amount of $30,000.
And why are we contracting with Ms. Miller?
Ms. Miller is available to the court as a court resource for consult if the court has legal questions or legal needs. And if there's an instance where the court needs her services, she would be available for that.
Yeah. Tell me about the Indigent Fund. Are there other resources available besides the city providing those for defendants in the courtroom?
Not in the municipal court system. No.
Oh, okay. I don't pose questions this time, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Perry, you got any questions?
No questions.
Good. Do you have any?
I have one. It's probably a moot point at this point, but the cannabis fees that you didn't collect, the 144,000. I'm curious as to why, because when they broke the law, it was a law. Why did those get released just because it was a new law?
I can't speak to why the legislation did what it did, but it made courts go back in time. So it basically said that.
So the state.
Yeah. So it was a mandate by state legislation that we had to go back and assume that the charge was never a violation at all.
So that wasn't your decision?
No, no, not at all. No,
we were not happy to do that.
Refunds?
We're not allowed to issue refunds. Refunds were, that was specifically listed that if you'd already paid, you would not be included. But if you did not pay, then you're fine.
State wasn't needs to collect.
Damn, missed my opportunity, didn't I?
Well, so I'm not going to tell you what to do with respect to, assessments that might suspend your license for not paying fines, but pay attention to that. It's a problem for courts.
You're not getting paid, are you?
And so what the court's going to have to do, if somebody doesn't pay on a simple traffic ticket, we're going to have to issue a summons asking them to come and appear. And when they don't appear on the summons, the court is going to issue a warrant. And so you're going to have people that are going to be arrested for minor traffic violations because of that process. We had last week, we did receive our annual training at our conference. DMV was present. They provide information to municipal courts. Their comments were not flattering of what the legislation did. There was a special interest group that lobbied for those changes. They said that it's probably one of the poorest pieces of legislation that they've ever not been a part of. So,
a lot up there that's bad.
So again, we just, as the court, we plug away and adjust accordingly, and that's kind of where we are. So any discussions with any changes for the court, I'm always available, or talk to me about how we're doing business. You want to come over and see our operations, I do invite everyone, including members of the public, come and see, come and participate, listen to the court. We're happy to show you how we do it.
Just go after those irresponsible pet owners.
We're not done yet.
Okay, yes, sir.
This traffic and license deal is an age-old problem.
I'm sorry?
It's an age-old problem with the courts.
Yes, sir.
They sound like instead of fixing the problem, they just keep clouding it. Because I did do the same thing. So you said that you have 1,792 violations, criminal and traffic.
Yes, sir.
Are cash violations, and that's kind of.
Those are considered criminal violations. Yes, code enforcement violations, your weed violations, your animal services violations, any fire department related violations. Your new water department enforcement officer has filed a tremendous amount of recent filings for people that have been tampering with their water meters and addressing that. So that's a new filing that we've experienced. but she's doing a really good job with the filings and the moving those along. So we did see increases there, but those are included as criminal offenses.
Okay. Just for my edification, Judge, you may not have this answer for me, but I think somebody in the room probably can fill me in. So you list your full-time salaries, part-time salaries, and et cetera, PRA, FICA, Medicare. Is that all done through our HR department?
Yes, sir. We don't really, we give you an estimate, but all those FICA taxes, pair retirements, we're not involved in the figuring that out. That's kind of done for us and plugged in. So I can't really speak to that.
And the group insurance, same thing?
Yeah, same thing for those processes.
Okay. So help me understand this building situation. Who owns the building?
City.
Do we charge you any rent for the use of that facility?
I don't pay rent, so,
Okay.
I mean, you're required to provide a court with a facility.
Well,
So
I kind of thought that. Where did our legal mind go?
Christina.
Okay.
the requirement is a facility necessary to conduct the business of the court.
No, I'm
So that's,
where I'm just trying to figure out how we do it. You also have $1,100 down here for cell phones. Who all gets the cell phone?
court compliance officers. They get the cell phones because they monitor. With the ACO monitor program, we can put a geographic fence around the parameters of where they can be and where they can't be. And the compliance officer can monitor that on their phone. And so that we see that.
So that's part of your in-house
Yes.
assignment. And so the janitorial and the pest control, you've got them listed here as a little less than $13,000. That should be a function of the city.
Pest control.
Pest control is Enchanted Pest Control is our vendor for that. Quality Janitorial is our cleaning contractor, and that's what we pay. So
Okay, so did you contract that or did the city contract that?
The pest control is done through the city because I don't pay it. I just send the bill over and they take care of that.
yeah, Quality Janitorial is just on an agreement. I don't know that there's an actual contract.
I think they've just
They're
been
just
doing it for
it's just an
years.
agreement that we've had for years with them, and
You pay.
they come, yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay, now let's talk about this contract for indigent healthcare. The rule used to be possible incarceration for a year or more. Is that still the standard?
No, sir. It's any jailable offense requires, if the defendant cannot afford counsel, then they're afforded one by the courts.
Okay. Now I noticed that your full court licenses and your LexisNexis. And then I also noted down here a little further that you've got additional legal manuals.
Yes, sir. Those are the books that get printed every year through, I think it's Blues 360 is the manual, but it's the court manuals with the updated legislative changes and then the amended books that are associated with that.
That is part of your LexisNexis.
No, LexisNexis is just a people database, a search database
Public records.
for public record search or addresses or additional information.
Things have changed since I was over there. That way, not that way. All right, and you talk about judges and clerks, membership dues for $700. Is that to the,
That's through the municipal league, sir.
okay? And something else that I saw here that I'll probably. And travel conferences, how many, do you have annual conferences?
So we have an annual conference requirement that judges must go to, that what I just completed. The conference, there's a different conferences for the municipal league that I'm aware of now, that I'll be at the annual conference coming up in August. And then I'll have various district meetings. I do have a district meeting scheduled for June 2nd is my next one. that I've been apprised of.
Okay, so that, and then of course you need to travel for the training and all of that stuff.
Yes, sir.
The insurance and the utilities, Chanel will drop in for those, so those aren't included in here yet. And you talked about the postage. Do you all have a postage machine over
We're
there?
using stamps.com now,
Mhm.
and we're using that to do our metered mail. And then so we do a requisition for postage, and then it's listed on our account, and then we process our mail that way.
So nothing comes through the,
So we're not using the process here.
Because we didn't know what was getting paid.
yeah,
So we're talking about an adjustment to the 763.
yes.
Okay.
There's no utilities in the budget yet, in his budget, and there's no building insurance. All of those insurances are all missing.
Okay.
So you could take 763 and at least at 30, because proposed was under the retirement. So you had 34, you're at 797,000. And you received, is this year-to-date received as to what time period? Judge, what is that you received?
So that's what was allotted in our budget. So if you look at what we proposed versus what we received, that's the actual number. And then the difference, we did have several accounts that we asked for monies, and we never got a reason of why less money was put in there and actually received from what we requested. That still has never been made clear to us how that occurred. Maybe that's a discussion for another day and behind closed doors.
800 versus his proposed last year, 706. There's a $94,000 budget increase. We think a big portion of that is 60,000 for window. So that's a $34,000 budget increase, which is 5%.
Councilor Perry, did you come
I'm
up
here.
with some, did you come up with additional questions?
No, sir.
Okay. You done?
I'm done.
Good. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
We're gonna, before we make any final determination, we're gonna look at the pluses and the minuses that we discussed. See how they shake out. That's just from
Yes, ma'am.
Eddie's problem. And
we enjoy working with Ms. Davies and would like her input and her assistance. Any discussions, we definitely like to have a seat at the table.
okay. You haven't been to NJC yet, have you?
Where?
NJC?
No, sir, I haven't. On my list to get there. As you're aware,
What you told me last year.
I was involved with JEC as part of the faculty for the Judicial Education Center. By active legislation, the JEC has been eliminated. So all educational processes have now been taken over by the Administrative Office of the Courts. The Institute of Public Law is no longer affiliated with Administrative Office of the Courts. They've cut their ties. So I don't know how involved I'll be in training of judges. I still participate as a mentor judge to many jurisdictions throughout the state. Again, I've been asked to participate in judicial coaching as a resource for judges. I'm not sure what my role will be in the future for education. So
Pippin's still in charge of AOC?
he is.
Thank you
Okay.
for calling and finding.
Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, we're putting off a lot of stuff. All right, let's talk about the expansion liquor license.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first time doing this, so.
Okay, everybody has a first time.
We're here looking for consideration to send this on to city council to get the approval for the liquor license to be extended for our new and fenced courtyard. On the application that you saw in our packet, it's asking for the local governing body, the approval. So from how we've understood that is for the city council to approve. So we're requesting to be moved on We're adding in, you can see from our old setup, the whole fenced area, it's an additional 20,960 square feet of the entire front courtyard with, so more events can have liquor parties or anything with the bars, and we can have more revenue from that. There is no additional fees or anything. The $75 for the application has already been cut and bought out of our own budget. There's not asking for any more money in that sense.
Cut and dry. This is just adding the fenced in courtyard. And because it's now fenced, that means that I can go in and out of the building as long as I don't go into the parking lot.
Yes, sir.
With my beer or whatever.
Yes, sir. Mainly our main focus is by 4th of July, this will be done. They can do the cantina out there, and we'll have the bar set up out there, and we'll have our own area. Unlike last year having the breweries, it'll be only us.
Okay. Questions?
Good questions.
Councilman Perry, you got any questions?
No questions, sir.
Okay, I think we can move on this one. We're not requesting any additional information. So,
We just need to move to council for approval.
yep, I'm waiting for a motion.
Oh, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we send this to full council for approval of the expansion of the convention center's liquor license 90025 to include alcohol service in the newly fenced outdoor area.
Do I have a second? Councilor Perry?
Second.
Amalia has a.
Can you make the motion to put it on, or can we put it on this next special city council meeting?
I don't think so. We don't have sufficient time, do we not?
No, the next special meeting is on the 18th.
Then that's fine.
Yeah,
Can you make the motion?
yeah, we'll make the motion to put that on the special council meeting of May 18th.
Thank you.
Can you second that, Mr. Perry?
Okay, all right. Any opposition? Hearing none, passes 3-0. Okay.
Thank you.
Man, I'm getting good at this.
You know what's the next item on your agenda?
The next item on the agenda, according to this, is adjourned, but we always ask for public comment. I'm taking the chair's prerogative to ask if there's any public comments. We got caller number 3, whomever that is with the green light. Maybe that is Mr. Perry, Councilor Perry. Anything else? Going once, going twice? Anybody in the room have any comments? Okay, I was hopeful we'd get through this, but I think we've got some additional information that's got to be brought forth. And I don't have my legal eagle here. We've got a special finance committee coming up. Nobody be surprised if this shows up on that agenda as
Question, sir, do I get this over to by email to Elizabeth to get to you guys, or how do I get you my financials?
Mr. Chair, I believe Chad emailed us some information from Main Street, but if you have any other documents, go ahead and send them to me. I will distribute them to the committee.
And I do appreciate what Christina, Councilor Arnold did say, because this is my first time to be here. I didn't know what I was supposed to bring. It makes sense that I should bring the financials, but I did not know whether those that I've sent before got funneled to you guys or not until today, so I apologize.
So you think that we got a set of plans? This is called make it up as you go along.
Oh. That's what I did. Okay, that's what you do.
I don't feel like the lone stranger.
I'll just make sure you get it. Like I said, normally I would send the stuff to my liaison. He would send it out to whoever he went to. So that's how we did it this time.
Okay.
Well, for you and Mr. Nopin, we're looking at having another meeting next Monday, and we have to have numbers by then.
Okay.
So we will push them into making a decision by then.
So I think I covered that when I made a public announcement, a public meeting. Don't be surprised this shows up at the next meeting a week from today.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Chairman Ford, can I have a copy of the
Thank you, Councilor.
financials that they gave you for regular?
Go.
Which?
From Main Street up to the right back. I just need to make a couple.
You can-
For this,